Shyama Charan Lahiri, 30th September 1828, 26th September 1895, best known as Lahiri Mahasaya, was an Indian yogi and a disciple of Mahavatar Babaji. He was also popularly known as Yogiraj and Kashi Baba. He revived the yogic science of Kriya Yoga when he learned it from Mahavatar Babaji in 1861. Lahiri Mahasaya saw the Guru of Yukteswar Giri. Mahasaya is a Sanskrit, spiritual title translated as large-minded. He was unusual among Indian holy people in that he was a householder, marrying, raising a family, and working as an accountant for the military engineering department of the British Indian government. Lahiri lived with his family in Varanasi rather than in a temple or monastery. He achieved a substantial reputation among 19th century Hindu religionists. He became known in the West through Paramahansa Yogananda, a disciple of Yukteswar Giri, and through Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi. Yogananda wrote that Lahiri was chosen by Mahavatar Babaji to reintroduce the lost practice of Kriya Yoga to the world. Lahiri's disciples included both of Yogananda's parents as well as Yogananda's own guru. Lahiri Mahasaya prophesied that the infant Yogananda would become a yogi, and as a spiritual engine, he will carry many souls to God's kingdom. Early life. Lahiri was born into a Brahmin family in the Ghuni village, presently a neighborhood of Krishna Nagar town, in Nadia district of Bengal province. He was the youngest son of Muktkashi, wife of Gaur Mohan Lahiri. His mother died when he was a child. There is very little known about her, except that she was a devotee of Lord Shiva. At the age of 3 or 4, he was often seen sitting in meditation, with his body buried in the sand up to his neck. When Lahiri was 5, the family's ancestral home was lost in a flood, so the family moved to Varanasi, where he would spend most of his life. As a child, he studied Urdu and Hindi, gradually moving on to Bengali, Sanskrit, Persian, French and English at the government Sanskrit college, along with study of the Vedas. Reciting the Vedas, bathing in the Ganges, and worship were part of his daily routine. In 1846, he was married to Srimati Kashi Moni. They had 2 sons, Tinkari and Dukri, and 3 daughters, Harimoti, Harikamini and Harimohini. His 2 sons were considered saints. His wife became his disciple and was affectionately called by Guru Ma. His work as an accountant in the military engineering department of the English government took him all over India. After the death of his father, he took on the role of supporting the entire family in Varanasi. Teacher of Kriya Yoga. In 1861, Lahiri was transferred to Ranikhet, in the foothills of the Himalayas. One day, while walking in the hills, he heard a voice calling to him. After climbing further, he met his Guru Mahavatar Babaji, who initiated him into the techniques of Kriya Yoga. Babaji told Lahiri that the rest of his life was to be given to spreading the Kriya message. Soon after, Lahiri Mahasaya returned to Varanasi, where he began initiating sincere seekers into the path of Kriya Yoga. Over time, more and more people flocked to receive the teachings of Kriya from Lahiri. He organized many study groups and gave regular discourses on the Bhagavad Gita at his Gita assemblies. He freely gave Kriya initiation to those of every faith, including Hindus, Muslims, and Christians. At a time when caste bigotry was very strong, he encouraged his students to adhere to the tenets of their own faith, adding the Kriya techniques to what they already were practicing. He continued his dual role of accountant and supporter to his family, and a teacher of Kriya Yoga, until 1886. When he was able to retire on a pension, more and more visitors came to see him at this time. He seldom left his sitting room, available to all who sought his darshan. He often exhibited the breathless state of superconscious samadhi. Over the years he gave initiation to gardeners, postmen, kings, maharajas, sannyasis, householders, people considered to be lower caste, Christians, and Muslims. At that time, it was unusual for a strict Brahman to associate so closely with people from all castes. Some of his notable disciples included Panchanand Bhattacharya, Yukteswar Giri, Pranabananda, Keshwananda Brahmachari, Bhupendranath Sanyal, and the parents of Paramahansa Yogananda. Others who received initiation into Kriya Yoga from Lahiri included Bhaskarananda Saraswati of Benares, Balananda Brahmachari of Deoghar, Maharaja Ishwari Narayan Sinha Bahadur of Benares and his son, biographer and Yogacharya Dr. Ashok Kumar Chatterjee, in his book Purana Purusha depicts that Lahiri initiated Sai Baba of Shirdi into Kriya Yoga, based on a passage in Lahiri's 26 secret diary. He gave permission to one disciple, Panchanand Bhattacharya, to start an institution in Kolkata to spread the teachings of Kriya Yoga. The Arya Mission Institution published commentaries by Lahiri on the Bhagavad Gita, along with other spiritual books, including a Bengali translation of the Gita. Lahiri himself had printed thousands of small books with excerpted passages from the Gita, in Bengali and Hindi, and distributed them for free, an unusual idea at that time. In 1895 he began gathering his disciples, letting some of them know that he would soon be leaving the body. Moments before his passing, he said simply, "I am going home. Be comforted, I shall rise again." He then turned his body around 3 times, faced north, and consciously left his body, entering Mahasamadhi. Lahiri Mahasaya died on 26 September 1895. Kriya Yoga. The central spiritual practice which he taught to his disciples was Kriya Yoga, a series of inner pranayam practices that quickly hasten the spiritual growth of the practitioner. He taught this technique to all sincere seekers, regardless of their religious background. In response to many types of problems that disciples would bring him, his advice would be the same, to practice more Kriya Yoga. Regarding Kriya Yoga, he said, "Always remember that you belong to no one, and no one belongs to you. Reflect that someday you will suddenly have to leave everything in this world, so make the acquaintanceship of God now. Prepare yourself for the coming astral journey of death by daily riding in the balloon of God perception. Through delusion you are perceiving yourself as a bundle of flesh and bones, which at best is a nest of troubles. Meditate unceasingly, that you may quickly behold yourself as the infinite essence, free from every form of misery. Cease being a prisoner of Thebadi, using the secret key of Kriya. Learn to escape into spirit." He taught that Kriya practice would give the yogi direct experience of truth, unlike mere theoretical discussion of the scriptures, and to solve all your problems through meditation. Exchanging profitable religious speculations for actual God contact. Clear your mind of dogmatic theological debris, let in the fresh, healing waters of direct perception. Attune yourself to the active inner guidance. The divine voice has the answer to every dilemma of life. Though man's ingenuity for getting himself into trouble appears to be endless, the infinite succor is no less resourceful. Guru-disciple relationship. Lahiri often spoke of the Guru-disciple relationship in the context of Kriya Yoga. He always gave the Kriya technique as an initiation, and taught that the technique was only properly learned as part of the Guru-disciple relationship. Frequently he referred to the realization that comes through practicing Kriya as taught by the Guru, and the grace that comes through the transmission of the Guru. He also taught that the grace of the Guru comes automatically if his instructions are followed. He suggested contacting the Guru during meditation, counseling that it wasn't always necessary to see his physical form. Regarding the necessity of the help of a guru to deep yoga practice, he said, "It is absolutely necessary for all devotees to totally surrender to their guru. The more one can surrender to the guru, the more he can ascertain the subtlest of the subtle techniques of yoga from his guru. Without surrender, nothing can be derived from the guru." The relationship Lahiri Mahasaya had with his own disciples was very individual. He even varied the way he taught the Kriya Yoga practice to each disciple, depending on their individual spiritual needs.